Hello, welcome to my channel. Today we have missing Sherry Bynum, and we're going to look at some different missing people because I ran across this Jane Doe and I'm wondering who this Jane Doe is while I'm looking for Sherry Bynum, and I couldn't find very many people that could be her. But she was only 30 years old, and she actually went missing August 8th. She was reported missing on August 9th. Allegedly somebody had dropped her off on August 8th. I don't know who dropped her off. It was after a game, a sports game. I can't remember if it's baseball or football, but we'll see it. But then I'm wondering, who did she get in the car with? And who dropped her off? And then where they dropped her off, who lived there? Does anybody know who lived in the area that they said she got dropped off at? So many questions, right? 5'6" to 5'7", around 135 pounds. And it says she was reported missing August 9th, but was last seen the night before. Dropped off in the area of Dublin and Vincent. You think you would drop somebody off at the house that they're going to, especially if they're wearing flip-flops. They're not going to walk far in flip-flops, right? At night, you're giving them a ride, you're going to drop them off in front of the house, right? Brown hair, brown eyes. I don't get that. Yellow shorts, red and white top, flip-flop sandals. So somebody needs to know something. Who dropped her off? Who lives where she was dropped off at? Whatever information you have, please contact authorities and let them know. 2 pictures of her. They look completely different. I don't know which one was the most recent. Doesn't even look like the same person at all to me. It looks like 2 completely different people. And then I'm hoping somebody posts more photos of her on the Doe Network and the Charlie Project. And this says she was only 5'6", whereas the other one said 5'6" to 5'7". Brown hair, brown eyes. C-section scar on abdomen. And yeah. So I wonder who had dropped her off. Because if whoever dropped her off did something to her, they're not going to say they did something to her. They're going to say they dropped her off. She got out of the vehicle. I don't know where she went. I don't know who house she went to. I don't know where she was going, right? Or if she went to somebody's house, they're going to say, oh, she never got here. I never seen her. So I don't know what happened to her in between all that. Doesn't mean that the person dropped her off did something to her, or the person who lived there did something to her. Something could have happened between them dropping her off and getting to the house. I don't know. So maybe she wanted them to think she was walking and didn't want them to know she got a ride. But I would think wearing flip-flops, they'd drop her off at her house. But it says she was dropped off in the area of Dublin and Vincent, Colorado Springs, in the evening after a football game. Never heard from again. Nobody knows what happened to her after that. And then some questions. This Jane Doe, the 4th picture, even though it says estimated date of death was 1897 to 1999, and she went missing in 1987, and that is, 10, 12 years before this Jane Doe allegedly died, or their estimated date of death. This 4th picture looks like her. I'll show you again. I'll show you a couple times. 4th picture, because sometimes when I do this, it doesn't show up in the video for some reason. Maybe I do it too quickly. 4th picture. Missing person, which is Sherry. So here's a picture of Sherry. 4th picture, Jane Doe. Sherry. 4th picture, Jane Doe. Really looks like her, doesn't it? This young lady was found in a refrigerator, and the trash in the refrigerator with her was dated 1988 to 1992. So what if whoever was killed was put in the refrigerator in 1987, and they started putting trash and stuff over her in 1988, and she went missing in 1987. If she was kept in the refrigerator from 1987 till 1999, would that affect their estimated date of death, because that really looks so much like her. And so I'm wondering whoever killed her, if they kept her in their house or their garage or their basement in some refrigerator they had. And, because they were afraid to take her out and didn't know what to do. And so finally maybe they were moving or something, they got rid of the fridge. Yeah, that's wild speculation. Wild speculation. Because it's probably somebody that was killed recently when she was found, but you never know. And then I wonder, what if something happened to somebody and they were held prisoner in the house and then killed later? I don't know. I feel like people are crazy, and that's more wild speculation. But I don't know who this person was. And then they've got this, but it's hard to tell just looking at this, but the first picture shows more better. And I don't know. There's different pictures. So, and now I'm wondering, who was this poor Jane Doe and what happened to her? So she was very tall, 5'7" to 6 foot tall. She had jeans that were 34 by 34, but that wouldn't affect them estimating her height, because I know back then we used to fold up our jeans 3 or 4 times on the bottom. We all had jeans like that. We'd fold them up. Well, I don't know if everybody did, but I know me and my friends would fold them up. She had a size medium t-shirt, a sports bra, they said, that was extra large, maybe 36C or D, red men's thermal underwear bottoms with a Winston cigarette logo on the back of the left side. So somebody probably smoked Winston cigarettes. Did she smoke Winston cigarettes? Or did whoever killed her smoke Winston cigarettes and dressed her in those clothes that were theirs, size 28 to 22? Red or pink or white or tan knee-high athletic socks. And then she had sandals that had double straps that were dark brown or black, and they had one strap above the ankle and one below, with rubber soles, suede leather foot pads, about size 9 or 10. A small metal clip on the left side of her belt loop, but no belt, like a money clip. A man found her remains in a refrigerator in a secluded area in Colorado. He was from New Mexico, and somehow he was all the way in Colorado and noticed, I guess he went to get the refrigerator, maybe, I don't know, and he opened the fridge, or it was already open some. He found her. He waited 3 weeks to report her that he had found her. I don't know if he freaked out and panicked and ran and just took off. Because somehow if something terrible happens, sometimes people panic in the moment and they take off running and they freak out. And then when they calm down, they're like, oh, I better do something, right? So I don't know why he waited 3 weeks. But I don't know what I would do if I found somebody's remains in the refrigerator. So in the meantime, animals and things have access to her skeletal remains, and evidence is being lost, I feel like, But the trash in the refrigerator was dated 1988 to 1992. And he wrote a letter and let him know, hey, I found the remains. And, you can't judge him too harshly, because what would we do? And he gives the man the brand of the refrigerator, and her case is being treated as a homicide. And I have a lot of wild speculation about what might have happened or how he might have reacted, because I don't know how he would have reacted. I don't know how I would have reacted, He's wondering, thinking, oh, maybe I could get some scrap metal from that refrigerator, or maybe I could use that refrigerator and fix it up and sell it. And he's like, oh, crap, right? Yeah. But that Jane Doe was found about less than an hour and a half away from where she went missing. So, and then I'm looking, well, who else could be this Jane Doe? Because I couldn't find anybody else that really fit her description. But then I'm like, well, could somebody else be this Jane Doe? So then I go to look, and it says 1997 to 1999. And this girl went missing from Boulder, Colorado, which is 3 hours away, but she was traveling to Arizona. She had come from Arizona to visit her family. And you can pause this and read it. 5'8", long brown hair, hazel eyes, 125 to 135 pounds. I wish we had better pictures and showed more of her, because of the size of the clothing and stuff. Pierced ears, scar. Levi jeans, button-up blouse, boots or sneakers, gold hoops, lots of bracelets, multiple rings. It says in late 1996 she traveled from Arizona where she and her boyfriend had been living in Arizona. They went to Colorado to visit her family. Her boyfriend came with her, and the family noticed there was some tension between them. And then they left to go home, but then the family lost contact with her between Boulder and Yuma on her way home, and they haven't heard from her since. So they're thinking that something must have happened to her on the way home. And they sent some kind of a Western Union transfer in the summer of 1997. She never picked it up. There's been no activity on her credit card or driver's license. So, they think maybe something happened between her and her boyfriend on her way back to Arizona. So, and she's never been heard from again. And she's 5'8", so I don't know if she could be that Jane Doe in the refrigerator. I would wonder where her boyfriend got the refrigerator from, but I don't know. Maybe the refrigerator was there, laying there, and he saw the refrigerator if he did something to her on the way back and shoved her remains in the refrigerator, and the trash was in the area, and then put the trash that was in the area in the refrigerator to cover her up, and then closed the fridge and somehow it got open. I don't know. So, yeah, I admit, of course, it's more wild speculation, but I don't know what happened to her. And I haven't looked for her among the other Jane Does yet. And so, and then the next missing person I have is 1988, which isn't between their dates either. She went missing in New Mexico. She was 5'7". And I don't have her, I didn't pull up Charlie Project if she has one, which might have more information, and you can pause this and read it. It says she left her home on Brugg Street in New Mexico to go riding her bike. She took her mother's bike because hers was damaged. It was a neon pink bicycle, and she was riding the bike. She usually rode it about 36 miles. And a witness saw somebody following her in a 1953 Ford pickup truck, dirty white or light gray in color with a white homemade shell. And they were following her, and she was wearing headphones, and it was an unpopulated stretch of highway, but no one saw the abduction. The bike's never been found. She was 2 miles from home when they saw somebody following her. And then they found a small cracked plastic window of the Sony Walkman 19 miles east of NM47 near the remote JFK campground. Her mother believes that her daughter deliberately started discarding items as a way to mark her trail, but it could have been a scuffle. This said that might have been where the scuffle took place and something happened. And they identified bike tracks on the north side of the shoulder of NM47, near where the cassette tape was found. Cassette tape, this is plastic window, this says cassette tape. So maybe they found some different items where a scuffle might have taken place. So, and there's a campground there. So they don't know what happened to her, and I haven't looked for her yet either. And that's about 4.5 hours away from where that Jane Doe was found. This girl went missing in 1990 in Colorado. She was only 24 years old. And I have her on the Doe Network, but I didn't pull her up on the Charlie Project to look. But she was reported missing on January 8th. Her mother reported her missing via telephone from Iowa Falls, Iowa. She hadn't heard from her daughter for at least 6 months prior. And it talks about she lived at the Weekly Motor Inn on East Colfax Avenue and was last seen with William Bannister. They suspect him as being a serial killer. And he said he saw her in September or October, even though her mother hadn't heard from her for at least 6 months, and that she left for Texas with some man named Mike. and a roofer, and then the police can't get him to answer any questions since then. So they think that man might have been a serial killer, and they wonder if he might have done something. Sounds like that might be more wild speculation, but I don't think so. I think that's what they think. This girl kind of reminded me of her, but I think she drowned, and she went missing in 1974, and she was 5'9", and she went missing from Breckenridge, Colorado, boating a rowboat with 3 people. The other passengers made it to safety, but they presume that she drowned when the boat capsized. Her body has never been recovered, though. And a very beautiful young lady, only 21 years old, 1974. And that was about 3 hours away. This young lady, okay, the next 3 are too short to be her, but I ran across theirs while looking, and I decided to include them in the video as well. Kimberly Diane Greene-Medina, she went missing in 1996 from Colorado. She was born July 30th, 1977. She was 5'5", light brown shoulder length hair, blue eyes, medium complexion, talks about her clothing, tan hiking boots, blue work jacket with Super Shuttle in yellow lettering. She was last seen in Aurora, Colorado, October 29th, 1996. She was married. She had 2 little girls. She worked as a dispatcher for Super Shuttle. She asked for a divorce 1 week before she disappeared. Her husband indicated that she left on foot to go to a local convenience store located at Mississippi and Buckley Road and never returned. Her husband reported her missing October 31st, which is 2 days later, Halloween. A bloodhound traced her scent from the couple's apartment to a gas station about a mile away, and then to East Colfax, and then to I-225. Wait, didn't she live on East Colfax? Did she live on? I don't know where I got that. Maybe she didn't. Maybe I saw that somewhere else. I don't know. That's strange. Oh, that motel where that other lady went missing in 1974. Wait a minute. Was that East Colfax? Hold on. East Colfax in the Weekly Motor Inn, a suspected serial killer. East Colfax Avenue, Weekly Motor Inn, a suspected serial killer in 1990. How long did the serial killer live in that motel? Whoa. This is 1996. This is 6 years later. He's not going to still be in that motel 6 years later, is he? No. I don't know. That's strange. Anyway, she asked for a divorce. She had 2 little girls. Her husband said she went to a local convenience store. They bloodhound traced her scent from the couple's apartment on Yampa near Buckley Field to a gas station about a mile away, then to East Colfax. Remember, there's that motel where that serial killer had been staying 6 years prior. And I-225 on 11/15/2013, the husband was convicted of her murder and in her disappearance. He confessed to the murder of his second wife. He is also in prison for killing his own son, a child he had with his second wife. Kimberly's body has not been recovered. Wow. That is terrible. And then the next person I have is Gloria Berreth. She went missing in 1994, Colorado Springs. She's only 5 foot to 5'2". It says that she didn't show up for work at Peterson Air Force Base, and her parents and daughters never heard from her. She had daughters after she was going to meet her former husband for an early breakfast at Colorado Springs Diner. Her former husband told police he was scheduled to meet her for breakfast at 6:30 a.m., but she never showed up. He waited till 7 a.m. and then left. She had divorced her husband in 1993, but conflicts between the former couple only got worse over the next year as she filed 2 restraining orders against him. She had custody of their daughters, who were aged 5 and 11 in 1994. The daughters were at their regular babysitter's home when Gloria called to say she was going to breakfast. A few weeks later, her 1991 maroon and red Ford Taurus with Colorado license plate, and it gives the license plate, and registration was found at Hancock Plaza Shopping Center. But there were no clues about who left it there. The turbulence in the marriage was documented in court records leading up to her disappearance. Police tossed all 12 pieces of evidence from her case, including a camera, calendar, and handgun. What? They tossed it? Foul play is suspected. That doesn't sound right. They tossed it? Why would they do that? I mean, it's been years. I understand that you store things in different places, and sometimes, you might have a plumbing issue or a leak or a flood or a storm or anything. I don't know. I'm going to say that's allegedly. We'll just say that's allegedly because it says that on here. I don't know. The next one I have is Ambretta Rawhouser. She went missing in 1999, and she was 5'8", but her hair was way shorter. But I decided to include her. Short brown hair, brown eyes, and you'll see why. She was last seen February 8th, 1999 at Motel and Convenience Store in Colorado Springs, Colorado. A truck with purse and personal belongings found at the Royal Gorge, Colorado parking lot. February 10th, 1999, where it had been left overnight. Oh, this one. I thought I had 3 of them where they were both had to do with their ex-husband or boyfriend. And now I feel like, did I accidentally get rid of one of them or close the browser? I wonder if I did. Now, that's a vehicle accident. And this one, yeah, I guess not. That's strange. I thought all 3 of them were. Anyway, she's in there, so she's going to stay in there. 38 years old. Truck with purse and personal belongings found in the Royal Gorge, Colorado parking lot, where it had been left overnight. Last seen at Motel and Convenience Store in Colorado Springs, Colorado. I really feel like they didn't give me enough information on her. I feel like I'm missing information. I wonder if she has a Charlie Project. There it is. It looks like it doesn't have much, though. It gives the license plate. Huh. Cannon City, please. Anyway, if you have any information about what it might have happened to Sherry Bynum, maybe you know who gave her a ride. Maybe you know who picked her up. Maybe you know who lived in the area that she was allegedly dropped off at. Maybe you have some more photos of her that could be posted on the Doe Network and the Charlie Project. Maybe you have some information that you thought wasn't relevant. You weren't sure. Maybe you thought, oh, it's hearsay. I can't come forward with that. Now you realize, you can come forward with hearsay to give them information because you're not testifying in a court of law. Maybe you've heard information since she went missing. You're not sure if it's relevant. You're not sure if it's true. You're not sure if it's important. Years ago, you thought you automatically assumed they had information that now you're thinking maybe they don't because it's been a lot of years, right? It's been almost 40 years, right? So maybe you have some information that you want to come forward and tell the authorities and let them know. And if you have any information about who this Jane Doe might be, Or maybe you have information about what might have happened to any of these other young ladies that went missing, and you want to come forward and you want to let authorities know information about one of those people. You should come forward and you should let them know any information that you have about any of these cases or any other cases. Then you don't have the burden of having that information and wondering, hey, should I have come forward, and taking it with you to your grave. And you can just come forward and let them know and give them that information and let them decide what they want to do with that information. And, then you can have, then they can have it. And I'm starting to ramble, ain't I? Wow. All these young ladies just go missing. She was at a motel in a convenience store in Colorado Springs in 1999. This one was in 1894. Colorado Springs, meeting her former husband. This one was Aurora, 1996. She was married. She asked for a divorce. I just feel so sad. This woman may have drowned. This woman, Aurora, Colorado, Laurie Lucas. Her family hadn't heard from her for 6 months, and it might have been a serial killer that was staying at the Weekly Motor Inn. If a serial killer was staying at the Weekly Motor Inn, if he was a serial killer, I don't know. How many years did he live in that area? How many other people might he have done something to if he's a suspected serial killer? And then this poor girl from New Mexico, Tara Calico, only 19 years old, riding her bike. Just riding her bike. And this poor girl, Mary Bernadette Brubaker, 1996. All these different people, they're somebody's loved ones, somebody's family members. Some of them have children and daughters that are like, what happened to my mother? Where's my mom? And some of them, maybe they're somebody's sister, somebody's aunt, somebody's daughter. They have people that love them. They're friends that they grew up with. There's people out there that love them that don't have closure. They don't know what happened to their loved one. If you have any information whatsoever to help these people to be able to have closure or find out anything about what might have happened to them, you should come forward and let authorities know. Please don't forget to pray for them, their family, and their loved ones. Feel free to leave comments and have a blessed day. Bye-bye.